Hey guys, it's Reuben here. Today is a very special recording of a live workshop that I ran last week, which is specifically tailored to young professionals in sport to help those who are currently working level up and start to hit some epic career goals. Now, if you're like I once was and you set goals but then you forget to revisit them and you drop off, or maybe you don't know what goals to set at all and you find the whole thing overwhelming, well, this workshop is designed for you. I struggled with the same issues around goal setting for many years. And so what I did was I read a lot of books and then came up with a system that made it easier for me to stick to my goals than it was to drop off and fail at my goals. Now, in today's podcast, I'm going to share with you that system. It's underpinned my career and everything I've done in the last 3 years. And since creating this system, I've used it every single day, and it's helped me live my dream working and traveling around the world. It's helped me create courses that are being licensed in Australia and in Canada. It's helped me grow my LinkedIn profile to reach over 4 million people. It's helped me grow the SportsGrad community with the help of the team to 650 plus members. And it even helped me with my half marathon personal best time, which I beat by 6 minutes, which is 1 hour and 22. Now, you don't have to be running a business for this system to work for you. We've introduced it to the SportsGrad team. The entire team now use it to help them with their own career development, and you can make it work for you no matter what job you are in. Now, on that note, since releasing this webinar, we asked you guys on social media, do you want more of this? Do you want more of this type of workshopy content that helps you level up and progress? And off the back of that, we had an awesome response to a community which we're thinking of calling the SportsGrad Pro community, which would be for working young professionals in sport, to help you guys have more of this type of content, network with each other, and grow together. So if you guys have been a SportsGrad member in the past and maybe you got a job and you moved on, well, this new community is absolutely for you. It's there to help you guys continue to progress quickly in your jobs. So keep an eye out for that on socials this week. Otherwise, I'm just super excited to share this process with you. It's the first time I've publicly let others in on what I do behind closed doors. But more than anything, I'm really excited to see how you guys use it. Let's go. Guys, firstly, I just wanted to say thank you for giving up all your time to be here. I appreciate everyone who's made the effort to be here, no matter where you're tuning in from. I'm currently in Tossa de Mar, Spain, of all places. It's about 1.5 hours north of Barcelona. I'm currently speaking to you from the rooftop of a hostel, which means this is my first ever al fresco presentation. So I hope the wind isn't too bad. I was praying for good conditions, but more than that, I'm excited to share this workshop with you. This is the first time that I've publicly let others in on what I do behind closed doors to operate my life and achieve the things that I do. But I'm also just really excited to see how you guys use it and use it to achieve whatever career goals you guys have in mind as well. What you're going to leave with today is number one, a system that allows you to very clearly understand yourself and create a 10-year vision for that is broken down into chunks so that you can wake up each day and be very clear on knowing exactly what you have to do and be confident that whatever you're doing is going to take you closer to the vision that you have for yourself. The other thing you're going to leave with today is I'm going to share with you a career operating system, which will be your digital home to organize your career. So this is where you can store all your vision, your goals, your monthly reviews. And the other thing I'm going to share with you as well is a daily cheat sheet that takes about 5 minutes to complete each day, but just allows you to have that confidence and clarity to go into every single day knowing you're taking steps in the right direction. And the other one is the monthly review system that I use as well, that you can adopt to continue to review and reflect on what you're doing so you can continue to be at your best. One caveat before we begin is with all things goal setting wise and career development, whatever system that you choose to use to operate your life, the best career development system is the one that you can stick to consistently. So I created this for me based on what I found worked. But if you find that something doesn't work for you, feel free to tinker with your system and make it work for you. I'm constantly tinkering with mine, so feel free to take this, adapt it, and use it in any way you want. Because if you can stick to one system for 12 months, that's better than trying to adopt another one and dropping off after 3 or 4. So, guys, before we dive into exactly what the system looks like and how it works and all that, I want to share with you the journey that I've been on with goal setting and a reflection that's led me to where I am today. So, the theme of this presentation you'll find is that systems over goals helps you get the results you want. So, for 26 years, I would try and set goals for myself, but I'd set them, I'd forget them, and then I get frustrated and constantly feel like I was on a treadmill because I wouldn't be able to stick to them. I had all these ideas and I knew that I wanted to be better. I knew I wanted to achieve certain things, but my mind was a bit of a mess. This was my room in 2020. This is about a few months into the start of SportsGrad. I had all these ideas going in every direction, but I kind of felt like I wasn't making too much traction because I didn't have the system or the alignment in what I was trying to achieve. And so that's when I came across James Clear and his book, Atomic Habits, and introduced me to the quote that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you rise to the level of your systems. And so creating a new lifestyle that allowed me to reach my goals was the most important thing to me changing what I was doing with my career, with my life. So that meant in January 2021, I decided to change this and I created a system for my goals. And back then, my hack for making sure that I was reviewing the system was to make it attractive. So the first ritual that I created was to book myself into an Airbnb for one night to do my review. And when I'd arrived at the Airbnb, the very first agenda item for myself was to book the next Airbnb for the next month. So I had it locked in. I had money committed to reviewing my system, and I couldn't back out of it. And then later that year, I moved down to Lawn for 9 months, and lockdown hit. And so I ended up in isolation in Lawn on my own for 9 months, where I had plenty of time to think about things. During this time, when Melbourne was going through the world's longest lockdown, I did a lot of reading, did a lot of writing. I was trying to take notes on what I was reading. And because I had all this time, my life was kind of under constant review and I was making changes very regularly. So things that would previously sit unaddressed for over a year, 2 years plus, these were starting to be ironed out very, very quickly. And so that year, 2021, that was one of the most testing years for SportsGrad. We hustled to try and get the business off the ground. Meanwhile, I was paying myself, I think, $500 a week from the business. I was also getting $150 cash from football if we managed to get a game in, which I think we got 8 games in for the year. So if I was lucky, $650 a week was my budget. But every morning I created a habit out of walking to this place, which is called Teddy's Lookout, which is where I would take the time to think, reflect, and where a lot of the big decisions started to be made. And then eventually we figuratively got SportsGrad off the ground. Ryan was able to jump in full time. We found an office in Melbourne and we started working on growing SportsGrad. But my goal from the very beginning was always to get it to a point where I could be anywhere in the world and still do my job. And so when we got to the end of 2022, we had grown the community membership by 400% in 1 year, and things were looking super positive. However, we weren't entirely safe just yet. So at the start of the year, we made a decision that ended up putting a bit of a hole in our business, and we started going backwards. And so in April this year, we ended up in a pretty poor spot where we had twice as many cancellations coming through SportsGrad as we did new members. And our ARR, which is annual recurring revenue, started to flatline and then drop. Around this time, things started to get even tougher for me. And on the 30th of April this year, that was my birthday. I turned 29. And I remember that day vividly because I was reviewing one of the worst months in SportsGrad history. But I was also preparing myself to walk into court the next day and give my evidence about being sexually assaulted in 2019, trying to compartmentalize the separate issues of cash flow and trauma became imperative to dealing with them properly. Fast forward 2 months and we get to the start of June and we analyze what changes needed to be made to the business to get trending up again. I prepared myself for court. I gave my evidence. The verdict came back guilty. 2 days later, for 5.5 months of working abroad to run SportsGrad, see the world, and finally realize the vision that I had for my life, which was to work and travel and keep the business going. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because of the system that I created to guide every day. This is the foundation that keeps me calm, keeps me focused, keeps me motivated. and has enabled me to tackle any challenge or goal that's kind of arisen along the way. So without this system, I would not have had the same clarity about what I need to be working on, or the confidence to take the steps forward, or knowing that it was in the right direction of the vision I was trying to create for myself. And a result of having this infrastructure behind me, it's enabled me to keep moving forward. It's enabled me to start living the dream and traveling. The community's now up to 650 plus members. I've been able to grow my LinkedIn profile to reach over 4 million people. The curriculum that I've created along the way has started being used by universities in Canada and Australia. And I even managed to beat my PB for my half marathon time, which is an hour and 22 minutes, which I thought was way beyond my limits when I first thought about trying to beat sub 4 minute kilometers in a half marathon. In terms of landing on this system, creating it hasn't been a smooth process. So I've been doing this for 31 months now, and the first 24 of it, I was constantly tinkering with the types of goals I should be setting, the types of habits that I should be setting. And it wasn't until I landed on the most impactful ones that things started to change. So every single time I get to a review, I would chop things in and chop things out. I would even create tools and templates for myself, like the ones I'm going to share with you today. This would speed up the process and make it easier for me to complete future reviews, or even check back in on daily. It was particularly over the last New Year's that I took 4 full days to fully review my life and create the system that once lived on an Excel spreadsheet, but now lives on a platform called Notion, which some of you might have heard of before. And I now have this system in Notion pinned to the bottom bar of my phone, and I use it every day to make sure that things are staying on track. Since the start of this year, since creating that infrastructure around my goals, I've been having my best year yet. I'm having my most consistent year with my habits. And now that we're in September, the results of 8 full months of consistency are really starting to compound and take effect. I feel a lot less stressed. I feel a lot more confident to tackle anything. And life generally just starts to feel a bit easier to sail through. So instead of you taking 2 years plus a 4-day retreat to create your own system, I'm going to give you mine. You don't have to be building a business for this to work for you. Our entire team, SportsGrad, use this system so they continue to grow professionally. And it also forms part of the SportsGrad method course being taught in universities. So there's a fair bit to cover today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the steps and give you the templates that you guys can use. And then you can go forth and complete it in your own time. But by the end of today, we'll also have any questions that you guys, we'll have time for any question you guys want to answer or ask as well.
Yeah.
Good to see a couple of people love Notion already as well. That's great to hear. This will work for you beautifully. So the system draws on a whole bunch of resources I've kind of called upon over the years. And the first part is understanding yourself. So it's all about who am I and what do I want. Now, the first thing that I use to understand this is called a personal trademark. And this was introduced to me by leading teams. The most famous trademark that leading teams have helped create is the trademark of the Bloods, which belongs to the Sydney Swans. And if you join the Sydney Swans, they'll introduce you to their culture of the Bloods, and immediately you'll know what is expected of you, because it is associated with a certain set of behaviors that they want to be known for. So they have a team trademark, but they also have personal trademarks as well. And I have a personal trademark too, which leading teams help me develop. And so the first step in creating this system for yourself is understanding, right, who am I and what do I want to be known for? So for you guys to figure this out for yourself, the steps to creating your own personal trademark are very simply this. Number one, you want to start collecting a bit of data on yourself. So I would ask your friends and your family, what are 3 words that you would use to describe me? And believe me, this is a scary process at first. I didn't want to do it, but the feedback that I got was very eye-opening. So you're going to get a whole lot of words, and then what you want to do is distill them down into 4 words that resonate with you. And ideally, you want to have 3 words for behaviors that you are good at or do well, and 1 that you want to work on. And then once you've finally landed on your 4 words, and this might take a month to finally condense down what are those 4 words for you, you want to create a tagline that makes it easy for you to associate with. So for example, the Bloods. So for me, mine's been a bit of an evolution. I've gone through a couple of different taglines, but at the moment, my personal trademark is classic Reuben. So when I say to myself, classic Reuben, that means be adventurous, be ambitious, be thoughtful, and be creative. And I've extrapolated those out into what they look like in practice. So if I want to be more adventurous, I want to explore new things. If I want to be ambitious, I want to think bigger. If I want to be thoughtful, I want to think of others. And if I want to be creative, I want to make art. And that can consist in any form, whether it's designing business systems or creating Instagram posts or videos. That takes on a few different meanings for me. First step is understand who am I. Next step is to understand what do I want. To break this down, we use the categories of be, do, and have. I would ask yourself in the next 10 years, what do I want to be, do, and have in my life? So for example, for be, what kind of person do I want to become? You might have a certain title in mind, or you might have a certain characteristic in mind. For example, like I'd love to become an excellent writer one day. For do, what are the things you want to achieve? Do you want to attend the next FIFA World Cup? Do you want to go traveling? Do you want to meet certain people? Do you want to go to a festival? Do you want to work on a certain event? What are the things that you want to do in your life? And the best way to answer this question is not to put any limits on what you think is possible. And then finally, have. What are the things you want to have in your life? For me, it's financial freedom to travel. For you, it might be you want a car, or you want a certain house, or you want other different possessions. So have a think about what are the things you want to be, do, and have. Then we're going to combine this with your personal trademark. So once you've listed down absolutely everything, what you're going to do is grab a piece of paper and create your own personal mind map. So I've done this exercise about 7 or 8 times now, and every single time I do it, it changes slightly. So this is my personal mind map from the start of the year. What you want to do is typically use 2 different colored pens, and in the middle of the page, draw your name, draw a circle around it, and draw 4 lines out to the words that you have used in your personal trademark. Now, in a separate color, you're then going to draw lines out to all the different things that you want to have, be, and do in your life. And I've noticed that the more I do this, the less my lists consists of. It's constantly kind of being cut down. I find that I want less things over time. So for me, I've got my trademark of being adventurous, ambitious, but then around that, I really want things like a close family or close group of friends, or one day I'd love to move back to Lorne and buy a house down there. At the start of this year, another thing I wanted to do was to do something meaningful with my sexual assault and tell my story around that. I'd also love to run a 3-hour marathon one day. Probably won't happen this year, but one day I'd love to tick off that goal for myself. So once you've done that, you then should use this personal mind map to remind you of who you are and the life you want to create for yourself. And if you want, you can take a photo of this and store it in your career operating system later. You can stick it on your wall. You can put it wherever it helps you remind you what to do. But this is kind of an overview of, all right, who am I trying to be? So this then provides important context to the next stage, and that is vision. So what vision do you have for your life? The next question you want to answer for yourself is, in 10 years now, what do I want my life to look like? The vision that I have for myself is I want a close family of friends and sports industry community. I want to make enough money to live and work and travel around the world. I'd love to buy a house in Lorne and in Melbourne to go between. I don't just want to tick off that 3-hour marathon once. I'd love to do it every year of my 30s. I'd love to go on regular adventures to advance, cycle mountains, hike trails, do all of that. And I'd love to have a blog with 100,000 people whom I help and share stories with. This is something that I have written down. It's something that I have somewhere very accessible, and it kind of reminds me every day, like, what am I working towards? So the next stage is trying to break it down and think about how can I achieve my 10-year vision in single day chunks. So that's when we get into goals. So this is the way that I approach goal setting. So particularly for career, now you can go forward and extrapolate goal setting out into as many areas of your life as you wish. What I'm going to focus on today is how to set goals for your career. There are 4 buckets for career goals that I set. Number 1 is a people goal. So who do I want to be connected with? Who do I want to have in my network? Number 2 is a skill goal. What I want to be really good at. Number 3 is a project goal. What are the things I want to complete and the results that I want to achieve? And then lastly, a brand goal. So I tie this towards LinkedIn and what I want people to think of me. So what online presence do I want to have? Then once you've got your buckets of goals, I would then take my 10-year vision and apply it to a 3-year time frame. And then we're going to work into a 1-year time frame and then a 90-day time frame. So for example, I might take my 10-year vision, which included having a sports industry network around the world, and set a 3-year goal around it, particularly related to people, which is I want to be able to travel to every continent in the world and have a sports industry contact there to say hello to. Another one, project-based. I want to grow the SportsGrad community to 10,000 people in Australia, UK, India, and the USA primarily. So whatever your goals are, have a think about in 3 years' time, where do you want your people bucket, your skill bucket, your project bucket, and your brand bucket to be at. So then once you've done that, then you can start to break it down into the next 12 months. So for me to hit my 3-year goal on my way to my 10-year vision, what do I have to do in the next 12 months to start to make progress? So for people, I might want to create 50 connections in London and Paris in the next 12 months to get me on my way to having a network around the world. Or for my skill goal, if I want to become an excellent writer, then I might want to practice writing for 300 out of the next 365 days. For project, if I want to hit 10,000 in the future around the world, I might want to start with 2,000 in Australia and the UK in the next 12 months. So now we can start to see how the vision of 10 years can start to be broken down to 3 into 1, and things are starting to become a little bit more attainable in the present day. So then what you want to do is then break it down into 90-day goals. So each quarter, I'll set a new 90-day goal. And this helps me kind of really focus on what do I have to do just for the next 3-month period, which is a really, which is a period of time that I find is easy enough to try and tick off something. And I just work on it chunk by chunk. So for a people goal, in the next 90 days, I want to have 10 Zoom calls or coffees with European contacts. And I know that if I could just continue to do that 90 days at a time, I'll be able to ladder up to my 12-month goal of having 50 connections in London and Paris, and my 3-year goal of having a contact everywhere in the world. But it starts by looking at the first 90 days. Similarly, I'm in the next 90 days, I might want to practice writing 75 days out of 90. And I'm just going to focus on here and now and try and tick it off one day at a time. So next, we're going to break it down even further. Then we get into 30-day milestones. So based on your 90-day goal, what milestone do you need to hit this month to be able to make sure you are on track to your 90-day goal? So for me, the milestone I might set for the first month of the quarter is I want to send 20 messages to potential contacts who I can catch up with. Or for my writing goal, I might want to make sure I write in the morning 25 days out of 30. And now I can see how, like, all right, this month, just get to that 30-day milestone, because I know it's going to take me closer to my 9-day goal, which is, again, going to take me closer to my 10-year vision. We've got our vision, we've got our goals, we've started to break them down into attainable chunks. The next thing to look at is habits. Every single day, what you do is who you become. So if we can start to align this with the people that we've set, the person who we've set out in our vision, then everything you do should gradually get you towards that. Based on your vision, have a think about what habits are going to take you there. Now, this is an image of my old system that I used to use. I used to be a very analog tracker of my goals. And so I'd literally get up a big sheet of butcher's paper and tick and cross everything that I'd do in a day. When you're setting daily habits, the important part here is that you stick to it. So whatever number of habits works for you is totally fine to begin with. I started with, I think, 3 and then moved to 6. And then I think I currently do 10, but they're 10 easy ones that I've identified over 2.5 years that I know work for me, and I find them easy to do. And I feel like I'm missing out when I don't do them. But if you're just starting out, you just want to get good at showing up. So doing 2 habits every single day for a month is much better than trying to do 15 habits for 15 days in a month and being inconsistent. And you'll see on my tick sheet, like, I'm not perfect. What habits do you want to set? So here's a couple of examples that can ladder up to the goals we've set for ourselves. So for example, my habits at the moment include reading, walking, and writing. I find that reading helps me improve just about every area of my life. So that's related to my skill goals. Writing as well is another skill that I'm trying to improve. So that is directly related to that. reading also helps me with the projects I'm trying to complete too. So if I'm trying to achieve a certain thing, I'll start reading a book on that topic, whether it's, if I have to try and improve the conversion rate of the website, I've got no idea how to do that, I'll pull out a book on how to do that, and that will help me get there, and that will become my habit for that month. With people, it might be as simple as sending one message to a new person every single day. I've also added in their health as well, because I find walking, running, doing some resistance exercises also helps keep on top of the rest of your career too. So here's a bunch of examples of habits you might want to set for yourself based on the buckets of goals that we've set too. We've gone through a fair bit so far. We've learned about who am I and what do I want. We've got our vision for our career. We've got our 3-year goals, our 1-year goal, our 90-day and 30-day milestones, to try and keep on top of that and to make sure we're constantly reminding ourselves what we're working towards. I'm going to show you the career operating system that I use to house all of this, and within that as well, I'm going to show you the monthly review system that I also use to make sure that every single month I'm optimizing for what's working and what's not working. The other thing I'm going to show you as well is this other tool that I use, which is what I call my daily cheat sheet. So every single day, I will print out one of these bits of paper, and on the left-hand side, I'll write down the time, and I'll write in what I have to do in each time slot of that day in half-an-hour chunks. And that will give me my run sheet for the day of what I'm doing. But then on the right-hand side, I'm going to rewrite every single day, what's the 90-day goal I'm currently working towards for my brand bucket or for my people bucket? And then what's the 30-day milestone this month that I'm currently working towards? And then based on that, what are today's tasks that I need to do to get me closer to that? And then also, what are the habits that I'm currently trying to work on that I need to tick off? And then underneath that, I write an epic thought, which is just to help my mindset and help me have a great day and feel positive about things. And I do this every single day. So the photo on the left is 2 full years of doing this daily cheat sheet. This year, I've gone to a digital version to help me do it whilst on the road, but it has been the single most important thing to keeping me on track. One of my habits at the moment is to plan my day the night before, and so I, in part of my learning of trying lots of different habits and seeing what works and what doesn't work, in 2021 I created a habit for myself, which was plan my day the night before, and I started to get terrific at it. I would never miss a day in a month, and I thought, okay, I've conquered that habit. So I put it away and I stopped. And that's when I started to miss days again. And I realized that this habit of planning my day the night before was so instrumental to everything else that would happen, because I would literally wake up, pick up my bit of paper and start working on the things I'd outlined for myself. And that would help me take steps. And I realized that I thought I'd conquered it, but I couldn't leave it off my list of habits every day. So now it's a fundamental habit for myself to make sure I'm doing the things I'm doing, and one that I'm never going to take off my list of things to do, because I know that as soon as I do, I'm going to drop, and the flow and effect is I'm going to miss out on other things. So I'm going to introduce you to those right now. All right, guys, I'm going to send you a link to this. And what I want you to do is create a copy of this template, and then you can start to go forth and implement the steps that we've talked about. Top of this page, you're going to enter in your 10-year vision. If you want to break it down into a smaller chunk, you can set your 5-year vision, your 1-year vision. Underneath that, you can then set in your personal trademark. So whatever tagline you come up for yourself, you can chuck it in here and list the behaviors that apply to you. If you want more help creating your personal trademark, we did a podcast with Gavin Marnie from Leading Teams, who is the person who introduced it to me. And there's a link to find that podcast here, but it's episode 30 if you guys are looking for it on Spotify. Then we go down here and we've got our list of goals. Broadly, what I'll do here is I will type out what is the overarching goal that I'm trying to achieve for people or skill or project. And then within that, that's when I'll start to get really specific. So if I click on this page, that will take me into all the different goals I've got for myself. So if I click on goals, then I can see these are broken down. So when I go into it, I can see, for example, in Q4 this year, my goal for the 90-day period, based on my brand goal of increasing my listens, my brand goal is to post on LinkedIn 12 times in 12 weeks. And then within that, the milestone I've got set for myself for the first 30 days is post on LinkedIn 4 times this month. And so what you want to do as you continue to use this system is just continue to keep this updated. You might jump in here, set a new people goal for Q1 next year, and you might set it as we'll call it a goal. And your people goal might be to reach out to 10 people in the AFL, for example. Then based on that, you might set a milestone within that, change the type to goal, set the date that you want to change this to milestone, my mistake. You'd break that down even further. So your first milestone might be to send out 10 messages. And basically, this just allows you to keep tabs on what you're working towards. And as you go through it, you can literally tick them off. And up here, this bar will start to update and show you where your progress is at. So if I go back to the homepage of this, next thing I can see is my habit tracker. If I wanted to start a new month, I can click on this button here, and that'll automatically generate a new template for another month of habit tracking. But for example, if you want to dive into September, you can jump in here, habits that you want to tick off each month. Down the bottom, it'll automatically tell you how you're going with that, and you can start to track each day how you're going with completing your habits. So in there, that will allow you to create a new template for each month. If we go back to the home page of your career operating system, I've created a view where underneath the status of your goals, and you can see where you're at with that. You can also see where you're at with the goals that you've got for the month coming up, and the 90-day goals that you're trying to work towards as well. So you're constantly seeing everything you're trying to do. But then down here, I'll also have a view of my monthly habit tracker here, so I can quickly see where am I at, what needs to be checked off. And so on my phone, when I open Notion, I'll straight away click on my system, take me to the homepage of that, and that's straight away got all my goals that I can see what I'm working on, and it'll take me to my habit tracker. On each day, I'll go, did I walk today? Tick. Did I read today? Tick. Did I go for a run? Tick. And this becomes a place that I check back in on each day, and it becomes very motivating and rewarding. We can start to see the ticks building up. So that is where I house all this. The next thing I'm going to show you is the monthly check-in. You might have had a great month. You might have had a poor month. Who knows? We're going to find out by going through this system. So again, like the habit tracker, there's a template that you can duplicate. So if you click on this drop-down button here, you can click on monthly review, and that'll create a new one. So if we open this up, this will take us to the new monthly review. So first thing you're going to do is score your monthly milestones. So for example, this is my scoring system. If I hit my monthly milestone, I'll give myself 3 points. If I get close to it, and that's up to your judgment, I'll give myself 1 point. If I don't get close, I'll give myself 0 points. So for example, I hit my people milestone, I got close to my skill milestone, hit my project and got close to my brand. I got a total of 8 points out of 12. My next question becomes, why did I not hit the monthly milestones for my goals? And I've started to complete some of it over in this one. This one looks a bit better. Here we go. For example, I might find that I found it harder to hit my brand goal this month because I noticed I felt nervous about posting on LinkedIn. Whatever comes out of your reflection, articulate it to yourself so you can take action on it. So that leads me to the next prompt, which is, what will I do next month to increase my score? So based on that, I might say next month I want to increase my score for brand. And to do this, I'm going to ask someone who has experience posting on LinkedIn how they deal with imposter syndrome to help me feel more confident to post regularly. Now we're reviewing our actions and we're taking clear steps to change it going forward, which means we're going to become better naturally if we continue to run ourselves through this process every single month. So you can do that as many times as you want for your goals. We're going to do the same for our habits. The way I score my habits is if I do it for more than 19 days. So I got to hit 20 days out of 30 or more in a month to get 3 points. 1 point for 19 to 10 days and 0 points for less than 10. I'll do exactly the same thing. I've got 6 habits. I've got a maximum score of 15 and I'll figure out, did I get 11? Did I get 12? How did that compare to the previous month? So I can clearly see how I'm changing month to month. And then again, I'll ask myself, why did I or did not complete my habits for 20 or more days? And that's when I'll start to reflect and I'll say things to myself like, Actually, I'm finding it really easy to keep my writing streak going by writing my phone in moments where I get time to myself, like on the train or working home from work. And that's become a good hack for me to keep that streak going. Or, for example, I'm finding it really difficult to get 4 hours to myself to complete some focused work undistracted. So this is one of my habits. Have a period of 4 hours of focused work each day to knock off the main things I need to do. You might find it's hard to get that time undistracted. So when we get to the next question, what will I do next month to increase my score? Well, next month I'll increase my score for daily focus work by explaining to my boss that this is how I work most effectively and ask for their help to protect this time by either working from home on certain days or moving meetings to the afternoon or doing whatever I need to do to make sure that I can be most effective and get that daily time of focus work in. And that is as simple as it gets. Review your habits, review your goals, figure out why you did or did not hit them, and then think about what actions you're going to take next. Over the journey, I've added in a whole bunch of different questions to my review, which have helped me with various different tasks. And you may want to adopt some of these questions as well. For example, one of them is, how have I lived my personal trademark this month? Are there specific examples where I've been classic Reuben or I've lived up to whatever trademark you create for yourself? And that helps me reinforce the kind of person that I want to be, or it helps me pick up on times where actually, Reuben, you haven't been as true to yourself as you would have liked. Another one is what hard choices, and I relate these to people, activities, or commitments, am I putting off that will make next week easy? If there's something you really don't want to do that you know you should do and you're putting it off, just by writing them down and answering this question, listing them, puts it front of mind and adds it to your to-do list and will get it done quicker than not articulating it at all. Another one that I love and have been doing for a while is what things am I worried about that would benefit from applying fear setting? Fear setting is a process of defining what am I actually worried about and what is the actual likely outcome of this thing I'm worried about actually happening. And on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the life-ending impact of this thing? Is this going to ruin my life or is it not actually that bad? And then on the flip side, if I go through and do this thing that I'm scared about, what's the life-changing impact on a scale of 1 to 10? And so this has helped me take action like move to lawn, for example. I was worried about, would I be wasting money? Would I be wasting time if I move my life to lawn? Similarly, I applied fear setting to working and traveling. What would I be missing out on? Would it be worth it? Would it be too difficult? Fear setting has been able to help me understand a lot of the big decisions that I've made in my life that seem scary at first, but have led to amazing outcomes. So there are a bunch of questions in here that you might want to use and apply to your monthly review. I'll leave that up to you. The last thing I want to show you is how you do this every day. So down here is where you can download that daily cheat sheet. If you want to print it off and complete it every day and put it into a binder, amazing. If you want to use the PDF and that's great too. But this is the daily structure that I use to make sure that everything that we've talked about, everything that we've looked at from your 10-year vision into your 3-year goals, into your 1-year goals, is being taken in small and achievable steps each and every day so that you can become the person that you want to become. And that is everything that I do. Over time, it becomes a lot easier. The results start to kind of take care of themselves. You find that you start to identify as the kind of person who completes a certain habit or works towards a certain goal, and people start to know you for doing a certain thing. And so you start to get their support. And so momentum really starts to build up quickly once you do this for a while. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my system. I hope you took away some things. Again, the most important thing with this is consistency. Find the system that works for you. If there's things that you like or didn't like, chop and change it, but just make it work for you so that you can get another day through it, another week through it, another month through it. And all of a sudden, you'll find that you are 2.5, 3 years into doing this system every single month. Again, if I could probably trace my consistency back to one thing, it's probably been make the monthly review attractive. From the very start, I said to myself, I'm going to give myself a budget of $200 a month to get an Airbnb to do my review. And now I get a holiday once a month. It's amazing. And I use this time to go forth and complete my set agenda, review the month before it, I lock in the next one a month in advance. I put the money down. I commit to it. I can't back out of it now. And that means that I have to do the next review. And that's kind of my only goal. Just like get to the next month, get to the next review, because I know if I get to that review, I'll make changes that help the next month and help the next 10 years of my life. So we've got a bit of time for questions now. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for listening. And if you've got any questions, feel free to pop your hand up and I'll answer them for you.
Rubes, it's Brant here. How are you, mate?
G'day. Good to hear your voice, Brant.
Yeah, that's it. Mate, I wanted to ask, like, how have you said this rest of the SportsGrad crew have jumped on this? Have you seen any really good results coming from them as a result of getting amongst it?
I might throw to them to answer that. Ryan, you've probably been doing it the longest out of the team. What have you seen?
One thing I'll start by saying is when I started doing, obviously Rose introduced it to me, it was like a real slow burn. And that was I was coming from a really low base of really struggling with goal setting and not really giving it the time that I needed to give. So it's not like I sort of got it and it was a fix straight away. So I think first thing with this is be prepared to give a few months to sort of get in the motion of it. But I think the biggest thing that this gives you is the consistency. And that's the biggest issue that I was having, sort of making sure that you're consistent every week, every month. And one thing that really allowed me to jump into this was actually having time every single month where Rubes and I will actually sit down and go through each other's review with each other. So that kind of enabled me to say, I've got this review happening, I may as well go through this, because at the end of the day, we've got to sort of be accountable to each other around what we're doing. So probably one of the best things that it gave me was that consistency every month. And it's also, I use it initially for really small things like drink 3 glasses of water a day. I suck at drinking water, so let's do that. Let's read for 10 minutes a day. Start really, really small. And then over time, I've been able to sort of grow it now where my 90-day goals will be okay, I'm going to meet 30 people in sport, and 15 of those are people who are professionals in the business, and 15 are some of our SportsGrad members. So it's kind of just given me that, I guess, structure to be able to be really consistent with my, I guess, vision or where I want to get to, but also maintaining a level of just small, intricate goals that are going to help me along the way. So that's probably a long-winded answer, mate. But I reckon, the main thing is just having, I think, someone to keep you accountable. So I'd try and set this up with somebody and say, I just want to tell you about my month. I think that's a really good way to do it. And the second thing is just, this is going to enable you to be really consistent. So the accountability thing is a really important one, which I would say. And now, Mill, Pranav, everyone on the team sort of has this set up, varying sort of levels of use, but we all have a base level use of it, which is fantastic. So this enables us to be really direct with what we want to do each month. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice one. Thanks, guys.
Jump in just as someone who's really had a very good goal setter. If you just start with kind of 1 or 2 a month and just really focus on nailing them, obviously Reuben's he's the pro, so he's got heaps of different things. But if you kind of just start with 1 or 2, focus on them, and then at the end of each month, I am a visual learner, so it is nice to just kind of tick off those things, and then you do feel like you're getting places, and then you kind of add on more as you go, which is quite rewarding.
Yeah, nice one. Thanks, Mill.
Yeah. Hi, Reuben. I have a question.
Yep, go for it, Rakesh.
What are the initial challenges that you have faced while trying to do all these things when you prepared all the charts and all? What are the initial challenges that you faced? What's going through in your mind internally? I've heard, not even heard. That is the most important aspect when you want to do something, or when you want to achieve something, that you have to fight within yourself before going out there and achieving what you want to achieve. So what are those challenges that you and even Ryan Walker has faced while starting SportsGrad, or whatever that you achieved so far?
Yeah, it can be a bit of a mental battle to try and stay disciplined every single day and work towards what you want. I would say that the goal of this is to make hitting your goals as easy as possible. So, for example, you want to be working towards things that excite you, and that makes it a lot easier to get up and go. So I would say probably the most fundamental part is understanding yourself and what you want, and being really clear on what those goals mean to you and why they're important to you. Because at the end of the day, no one can really force you to do anything. It's got to come from you. So if you are most clear on what your vision is and what you're trying to achieve for yourself, then the easiest way to get up and go is to be super aligned to that.
Great, that's great. Yeah, it makes sense.
No worries.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Lachlan Mitchell, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, mate. Great presentation, and great to see you sort of jumping around the globe and sort of really making an impact on Strava. My question would be,
Thanks,
say, like the eternal optimist in me wants to say that I'll hit the goal every sort of week and every month and things. But say you start missing it and life gets in the way and sort of, you miss it. Do you sort of reschedule your goals, or do you sort of move the goal process to say and then sort of work on your 10-year vision and push that out, or how does that sort of work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be honest with you. I miss my goals more often than not, and so it often requires tinkering and readjusting. So, I'm probably guilty of setting targets that are probably just a bit beyond me, and so every month I kind of have to just tailor it back. But it kind of keeps me hungry and keeps me wanting to keep pushing to get that. So yeah, definitely. And if you don't hit that goal, that's okay, because I don't hit all of mine either.
No, unreal. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
No worries. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, hi Reuben, I'm from India.
G'day.
Yeah, so my question was, I really liked what you displayed, the template and everything, and I'm really interested in using it. So, is this system available for others as well, or only for SportsGrad members or anything like that? And how do I download it or anything?
Yeah, so after this, we're going to send out a link to the recording, and with that will come a link to the template as well. So that will be available to everyone who's jumped on the call today.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
No worries. Hopefully that means it's answered all the questions you have in your mind. Thanks so much for jumping on, guys. I really appreciate you showing up and giving me your time and bringing your questions and being willing to learn. If you have any questions after this as well, feel free to ping me or to let me know. I'm always happy to help with this sort of stuff. I love seeing people go about trying to achieve their own goals in whatever shape or form that might be. So always happy to help. Thanks again, guys. Let me know how you use this template and system going forward. Can't wait to see what you guys achieve. See you later.
Thank you, Reuben. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Reuben. Cheers. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thanks, Reuben.
Thanks,
See ya.
Reuben. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Hey guys, one last thing before you go. If you'd enjoy a quick email from us each Friday on all the latest job openings, networking events, Q&As with industry professionals and latest podcast episodes, then subscribe to the SportsGrad newsletter. Head to our website, www.sportsgrad.com.au/newsletter to subscribe. There's also a link in our show notes to join.